Hey, Covey.
Hello,
Hey, hey.
what's up?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, are you trying to argue? I just scrolled in. I just want to understand. Are you trying to argue that Africans kicking like white people out is
No,
racism?
no,
Oh,
not.
what's your
I
argument?
didn't know it's tough. I'm saying when we look at Liberia and what's happening in Liberia, the reason why they can't justify the association with whiteness being equal to colonization is because they've never been colonized by anybody other than black people, or they have never been oppressed by anybody other than black people. One, this amendment comes in 2022, and they have no fear of colonization by white people. So, and the reason why
What's the
they're able,
amendment?
you said what?
What's the amendment?
It's let me give you the clause. Um, so it's in chapter 4 of the Constitution.
And what does it state?
Yeah, so it states only persons who are Negro or Negro descent shall qualify by birth or by naturalization to be citizens of Liberia. The reason why this is harmful is because to gain wealth in respects to like or cultivating wealth in respects to like real estate, you have to be a citizen in Liberia. So if you aren't a citizen in Liberia, you can't buy homes. So if you're not black, you can't buy a home. So if they're basically telling white people if you're not white, you can't be a citizen. If you're not white, you can't buy a home. This is
Wait,
racist.
what's wrong with that?
Yeah, this is racist because this is going to be some type of
It's not
prejudice.
racist. You know when that was
Give me the
passed, the
yeah
amendment?
2022.
Yeah. You know that the intent of that amendment was literally to just protect like Black Republic
Protect the Black Republic in
when
2022.
yes, when the West is actively, literally claiming African land. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So how is this happening in Liberia?
Is that not what I said to
No,
you?
no, no. Wait, hold on. I said the West in general. When we look at the African continent,
But it's
the West in general, right? Liberia is looking at its neighbors and looking at how the West is actively sending all these shell companies to claim land. So yes, 100%, it has a right to protect itself.
Yeah, again, just because you have the right to protect yourself doesn't mean how you're going about this preference isn't rooted in racism.
Yeah, but
Like
it's not
I want the argument.
racism.
I just want the argument. Like she wasn't able to
It's
give me
it's
it. Maybe
self
you can.
defense.
Yeah, can you give me the
That's
argument for
literally,
like?
Covey. Everything that you're saying is
Yeah, the
exactly
I
what I
know.
said.
argument, the
See, I mean, she
argument.
already said everything. So just give me the argument as to why it can't be racism. Go ahead.
Yeah, it can't be racism because it's self defense. Like they're not actively discriminating against white people just because they're white. They're discriminating against them because of what white people have done on the African continent.
So what?
Like white people actively every single land that white people have like lived in or touched, literally set foot in on the African continent, they have destroyed
Is this?
everything.
Is this gonna convey all white people or some white people?
Give me a single
Just
country
answer
in
my
Africa where
question.
what?
Just answer my
Yes,
question.
yes, it does.
And so is
Yes.
this substantiates all white people?
When no, no, when white people go to an African country to buy land, they have never done that with good
That's
intentions.
fine.
It's a
Is this
fact.
so? This is all white people.
Yes, white people as a group. Yes.
So
Can
you
you
think
give
it's valid to associate colonization with whiteness? This isn't
what
prejudice.
white people as a group going to Africa? Yes. A
I'm talking
hundred
about in
percent.
general.
It's not a general though. We're talking about Africa.
Yeah,
You
we're talking
cannot.
about in respects to Liberia, but what they're saying is
Liberia
that they're
doesn't exist.
associating whiteness with colonization.
Yes,
This
on the
is
African
prejudice.
continent. Yes. No, it's not prejudice.
You can't prove that all white people are colonizers. You
Wait,
can't
hold
prove
on.
that.
That's not. Wait, hold on. So it's not prejudice because prejudice is preconceived notion that is not based on actual experience or fact.
Yeah,
It
do
is
you have
a
any
fact
argument
that
for it?
every time. Hold on, one second. One second. Let me respond to you. It is a fact that every single time white people have set foot on the African continent, they have never ever led to anything good.
Perfect. So if I can show
Nothing
you a
good.
time where white people stepped on the African continent and they done good, then your argument falls on its
Where have
face.
they done good?
Wait.
Yeah. When,
Wait. Can you concede to that? That's what follows. If your
if
argument is
if you
that
show
wait,
me that they have done good
wait,
on
wait,
the African continent, yes.
so then that would mean that not all white people have participated
Can you tell me
in.
where they've done good?
Okay, perfect.
Literally, I just want to say, chat, for those of you that have been here, is Athena, what she just said, is that not what I said, bar for
No, exactly
bar?
what you said. We weren't able to give an argument, and she
I
still
did.
isn't either.
He didn't like my argument.
No, you
That's
weren't able to
all.
give an argument. To the contrary.
On the African continent, by the way, I'm saying. Even
Yeah.
even the very act of white people buying land on the African continent is unethical.
This has been happening on the continent for so
So
long.
I'm not
This is me as
ChatGPT
an
anything.
African, by the way. I'm an African.
Yeah, I'm also African. This doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. You can know things without
No,
being
I
African.
just said it to the chat. Like,
Oh,
as an
okay.
African, like, there hasn't been a single time where white people have literally done good
On
to
the
the
land.
African continent.
Okay. So do you think mission trips are good or bad?
They're bad.
So when we go into developing countries and we help these developing countries, this is bad.
They're bad, yes, because
So
much
every
more
time-
money
wait, so
leaves
every
Africa
time-
than enters it.
Wait, so every time we go on a mission trip to go help needy people, this is bad.
You're not helping the needy people. You know why? Because if you actually wanted to help the needy people, you would have hired the people who are there and given them money to actually build the infrastructure. But instead, you're bringing out people from the outside, sending them to that country to build shit. Instead of actually investing money into the economy.
Wait,
right?
so this
Because-
is a total different argument, right?
No, it's not a different argument.
You're arguing. You're saying that the only form of help we can give to developing countries is this. Like you're just begging the question. How do you know
Yes.
that? How do you know that?
No. The way that, because when we look at the African continent, it's in an economic deficit with aid taken into account
Okay.
by more than $41 billion, which means much more money is leaving Africa than entering Africa. So if you
Well,
are
I'm telling you, like,
mission,
but you don't
if
understand
you
what
are
I'm
a
saying.
mission strip,
Well, you don't understand what I'm saying.
I,
You're begging the question. I'm asking you to give me the argument as to why.
I'm not-
this is
I'm
the
not begging
case.
the question.
Yes, you are.
I'm
You're
not
begging the
begging the
question. The only
question.
form of help we can give to developing countries is through so and so.
gotta-
yes, investing
give me the argument.
money into the economy. Yes.
So is it the only form of way you can help a developing
if
country?
you actually legit, no, it's not the only way.
So
but
then-
if
so then you would be wrong
No,
then.
but mission trip does not help.
No, wait.
Mission trip does not help.
Your argument was that mission trips aren't help, and then how you
They're not.
substantiated this is that there's a way to help it, and you have X, Y, and Z. I'm saying that's begging the question. Give me
No,
the
I'm
argument.
saying mission trips are not a help because in
Again,
the grand scheme of things,
I understand what
they're
you're
not
saying.
actually investing
I
money
understand what you're saying.
into the economy.
That's begging the question. I want the argument for this
It's
is the
not
only
begging the
form.
question at all.
So it's not the only form of help.
No, mission trips are not helpful.
Okay, that's
in
begging the
grand scheme of
question.
things, they're not
That's-
helpful.
Okay, but they are helpful.
No, they're not.
So are they helpful in the short scheme of things?
No, they're not. They're
Oh my-
literally actively
Give me the
harming the African
argument.
continent.
Give me the argument.
Mission
You're
trips
speaking
themselves are a
absolutes.
form. Hold on one second. Mission trips themselves are a form of colonialism, right?
I feel that you believe that. I'm just asking for the
no,
argument
no,
because
I
you're
don't
begging the
believe that.
question.
No. Literally, right? Christianity. I'm
argument,
talking
bro.
about Western. No, hold on. You can listen. You can.
No,
listen.
I'm trying to
Like,
listen, but you're not
you're
answering my
being
question.
challenged.
I'm not. You're not answering my
answering
question.
your
No,
question.
you're
You
not.
just don't like- you
I
just don't
said.
like
I
my
said you're
answer.
base. You're begging the question, and how you're begging the question is that you're creating an absolute. You're doing a black and white fallacy by saying that this is the only form of help. So I
I didn't
want
say
you.
this is the only
That's not
form
what
of
she
help. What
said.
I'm saying
So
is
then
mission
you would be
trips-
wrong. You're arguing with
No,
his face if it's not the only
hold on.
form.
No, hold on. Mission trips do not exist within a vacuum. You are pretending as if these mission trips are only being done because Europeans are somehow altruistic. And I'm telling you, they do not exist within a vacuum. Mission trips historically have literally been a wing of colonialism in that colonizers, because they could not actively go there themselves. No, hold on.
I don't disagree with that. But
No,
you're
no,
saying
if you don't
but
disagree
you're
with that,
saying-
then you know that
no. The
mission
reason why
trips-
the reason why I'm going to disagree because you're speaking in absolutes. You're saying every time this has happened, it's been bad. I want you to substantiate that. That's all I'm asking you to do. I don't speak in absolutes. I don't do that because that's going to be fallacious in itself.
Wait,
You're
hold
speaking
on.
absolutes.
You did.
You're
You
begging
cut
the
her
question.
off,
I'm
though.
asking you.
No, but
she's not.
you
She's not.
cut me off. I'm not speaking in absolutes. What I'm trying to tell you is mission trips are also a part of this colonial exploitation, right?
They can
They're
be.
Like when
They
these
can
no,
be.
not they can be. They are. They are.
That's an absolute
Because-
statement.
No,
What's the argument?
Because if these mission trips were actually as helpful as you say that, one second.
You're actually so you're not tracking. You're not tracking.
Wait,
You just
no,
made it-
I-
you just
I
made
am
it-
fully
so you-
tracking,
Wait.
trust me.
No, I want
I
you to
am
speak. I want you to
fully
speak.
tracking,
But I want you to
trust
answer
me.
my question. Do you not just
I'm
make an
answering
absolute?
your question.
Wait. Did you not just make an absolute claim just now?
Yes.
Thank you. So I want you to
Wait,
substantiate
hold
your
on.
position
One
that
second.
every
Wait,
time.
One second.
Oh my God.
Mission trips. Can you just like let?
No,
let me-
I'm not gonna just let you
me-
do whatever you want to do because I asked you a question. You're not answering my question.
I'm
You- at first
answering
you
your
said-
question, bro.
No, you didn't. You made a truth claim that every
I'm
time.
answering your question.
You made a truth claim that every time a mission trip happens, it's for bad. It's for some type of colonization.
Yes, they are bad. They're not beneficial.
Now prove that. And your definition of beneficial.
I'm trying to prove it to you.
But your definition, you have to argue two things. You're arguing that what is beneficial is what you see is beneficial. I want to know why that is.
No.
What That's begging the question. Oh my gosh.
If they were so beneficial, why is the African continent not in a better spot today? We have been having mission trips. Hold on. We have been having mission trips for the past couple of centuries.
There's a lot of reasons.
And yet, up until today, the African continent is still in an economic deficit.
There's a lot of reasons. It's not just one thing, right?
Yeah. What are the reasons?
Yeah, there's going to be outside some type of like imperialism, some type of colonization. There's going to be some type of like corrupt governments. Like these people are also playing a role in the fact that they can't evolve. I'm not disagreeing. I don't know why you think I disagree.
So you don't think mission trips are a part of that?
No. I said they can be part of that, but you made an absolute statement that they are part of that. I'm asking for the argument. I don't speak in absolutes because speaking in absolutes is fallacious.
Wait, hold on. So when these mission
if I don't have any way to substantiate my position, I'm not going to speak in absolute. You have nothing to support this.
So when these mission trips, instead of actually hiring people on the ground to actually build the infrastructure, when they turn African poverty into this backdrop for Western volunteers to feel good about themselves, or post a picture with a bunch of 10 like black children in Africa.
From emotion.
It's not arguing from emotion. It's actually a fact.
No, this is arguing from emotion. This is literally
no. It's not arguing from emotion. These mission trips, if they actually did,
which one do you want? Which one do you want? No,
I can pay a galaxy to. I will pay 2 galaxies to stay.
I mean, I'm asking who he wants to drop. I don't know if he's trying to drop.
He wants to drop me, but I can pay 2 galaxies to stay.
All right, sure. But this is absolutely an argument from emotion. We don't care. We don't care what you feel happen, right?
It's not about. Wait, hold on. It's not about feeling, right? The point is that if these mission trips actually wanted to help when they build these schools and infrastructure, they would have hired African people on the ground to build these systems, right? These infrastructure.
Do you see how you're begging the question? Do you see how you're begging the question? If you're making a condition, you're presupposing your conclusion and your premise. I'm asking you, what is the argument for that? What are you not getting? Maybe you're not familiar with like modal logic, but you're begging the question. I'm asking, how do you know that all cases of help look like this? That's all I'm asking you to give me the argument for. That's begging the question. You're presupposing your conclusion and your premise. How do you know that?
Nigman, she just said it to you though.
No, she's not saying anything. She's telling me how you feel.
I don't tell you how I feel. Again, what I'm trying to tell you again, these mission trips, literally, if you actually pay attention to them, because I knew way too many people who volunteered to these mission trips, and I actually sat down and tried to educate myself on what these mission trips do. These mission trips are literally set up only for Western volunteers to feel good about themselves, so they can feel like they helped a bunch of African kids from starving. Look at us, we're posting it on social media, instead of actually helping the economy in that country. If you want to help the economy in that country, you would have actively hired people on the ground and put money into the economy.
Yeah, again, I'm not disagreeing with that. I don't know why we keep on going back and forth.
Yeah, but my point is, you try to bring up mission trips as if they're these altruistic projects when they're not. They're not altruistic. Europeans are not doing this
So
because they're trying to do charity.
So, like, who determines help?
What do you mean, who determines help?
Yeah, like, it's not up to the agents?
It depends on how beneficial it is to the society.
Who determines beneficial?
Well, I think the help would be we would have to see clear evidence that
I'm asking who determines it. You're jumping. I'm asking who determines what help is.
I'm not jumping. I don't think it's illogical.
No. I'm not saying it's illogical. I'm saying who determines help and what help is. That's what I'm asking. It's a very simple question. Because I can say this is help, and it could be totally different from yours. Who's right and who's wrong?
Listen, we would know that they were truly being helped, right? If things improve. Things aren't improved. Somebody said in the comments.
I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna give you what I'm saying.
It's a paternalistic relationship.
I'm gonna give you an example.
They come in, they like assist, but they still leave better off, and people in whatever place it is that they're helping specifically, they're not elevated. I think that's what we're trying to.
The material conditions are not better.
I agree. That's a form of help, but to say that's the only way you can help these people is wrong.
I never said that was the only way.
Okay, so then how would it be the case that
I just said.
Wait. I'm going to explain to you why you're saying that. Because you're saying every time these missionaries come in, they're not doing the thing you believe that is help. But you're also in the same breath saying that's not the only way you can help. So then how would that be a defeater? Do you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
help would be Doctors Without Borders, right? Help would be Doctors Without Borders. Help would be people actually going there and actually treating people. Mission trips, right? Short term mission trips are a part of colonial exploitation. And a lot of times as well, these mission trips prioritize spreading like Western forms of Christianity over respecting indigenous traditions, languages, or beliefs.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me just answer this real quick. Sorry. I heard you though. I'm gonna reply.
Literally, I kid you not. This is everything that you're saying is what I said bar for bar.
Yeah. And also, like, if these mission trips were so good, like, again, it would have drastically bettered the material conditions of African people on the ground. But the fact that African people are stuck in this cycle of poverty, with the African continent being in an economic deficit by more than $41 billion for the past couple of centuries, just
I don't
goes to
know
show
why you
that
think I'm disagreeing with this. I don't know why you think
no,
I just don't think it's that simple. Like it seems
We're
like you're
just talking about
Oh,
we're just
okay.
talking about the conversation, but they
Yeah, I
do
think it's
aid.
multiple things. I think
They do
it
aid.
has a
They
lot to
aid
do.
in, these mission trips aid in resource extraction. They erase indigenous culture.
They
There
can.
is sexual abuse that ends up happening to
Yeah, I'm not
people,
disagreeing that it's not
and there's
possible.
a dependency that's created where and that's why that's paternalistic, right?
I'm not
So
disagreeing.
if we agree, what's your contention then?
My contention is that I'm not speaking in absolutes. You're speaking in absolutes. So to say that all help looks like this is just going to be, you have to prove that, right? So what could help look like, right? Help could look like giving food to these people, right? That is a form of help. Would you believe these missions?
That's temporary help.
I agree. But your argument is that help is only help if it's long term. What's the argument for that?
But they deserve that as human beings.
I'm not saying they don't
deserve
deserve that. I'm not saying that, but you're saying that help is only long term, but this would be considered help. You're saying that they never help.
I think the only time, like, fine. Let me retract my statement.
Thank you.
The only time a mission trip could be beneficial is if it actually works with local leadership, because African people already have professionals. They have the doctors, they have the teachers, they have the pastors, they have all of these different things. If an organization says, "Hey, I'm going to actively fund people on the ground and put the money in that economy," maybe then they would be good. But unfortunately, a majority of Western mission trips, have not been investing in that.
And I don't
They
disagree with
haven't been
that.
altruistic.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But all I was arguing was your absolute claim that you can never prove in life.
Yeah, but
Can't
and,
prove that.
and
We agree.
Can we agree that a majority of mission trips?
And but the thing is,
haven't been
I actually don't know. I actually don't know. So I'm not going to make the absolute claim. But I know for a fact it's not absolute. Right? I can't say that indefinitely, but I can agree that yes, there's probably been a good amount of mission trips that have been used to are been used for actually negative purposes and not actually positive purpose. That's not a crazy like contention. That's fine. I can say that. But when you're saying that,
majority,
yeah, I'm not gonna say majority. But if you're gonna say, because I haven't done I don't have the stats, but if you're gonna say that it's help is only help only looks like this, then you have to give me the argument for that.
Wait, that's not what I said. I didn't say help only looks like this.
Okay, then if
that's
you
not
say
what I said.
okay, then that's what I'm saying. So listen to what I'm saying.
I just
If
said
that's
mission
true,
trips have a majority of mission trips have not been good. They haven't been helpful to
you
the
didn't
African
say
continent.
majority. You said mission trips don't help.
Yeah, I said fine. I will reword it. I can reword it and say a majority of mission trips have not been helpful.
Okay, so if you will reword it, then you would have to concede on your initial position that mission trips, you haven't had any white person come into Africa that did something helpful.
I don't think
Oh, white people? No.
Wait,
Like
if-
a
wait,
majority of mission trips.
Okay, if there's a
In the
majority of mission
grand
trips,
scheme of things, in the grand scheme
that's
of
the argument. You have to
things-
prove that argument.
Hold
You're
on.
begging the
In the
question.
grand, like, we have to understand that these things do not exist within a vacuum. In a grand scheme of things, white people as a community have not helped Africans.
Okay,
They have
I'm
actually
not-
caused much more harm, which is precisely why African countries are kicking white people out,
Okay,
because we know how harmful they are.
but you assuming that a person is harmful just because they're white is prejudice.
No, whiteness is not biological. Whiteness is literally a political category.
Okay, I agree with that.
Okay, whiteness is a political category.
But they're not saying whiteness. They're saying white.
Yeah, white. White is a political category.
Whiteness is whiteness is like the idea that it's some type it's adhering some type of like a white supremacy, right? It's saying that these characteristics or these what's it called? Why am I brain farting? Oh, what is it called? The features? What are the features called that use to the phenotypical traits? These phenotypical traits are superior to other phenotypical traits. Yeah, that's what whiteness is. No one's disagreeing with that. The point is,
Yeah, but
they're
it's
not
like-
saying whiteness. They're saying being white, right? Being of the white race is what makes you not allowed to become a citizen and not gain property.
Yes.
And I'm saying that is prejudice in itself because you cannot prove that because you are white, you are a colonizer.
It's
You
not
can't prove it.
prejudice at all because it's based on, again, actual experience of what white people have done to the African continent. It is literally based on that experience.
Again, your experience cannot fundamentally substantiate the whole race.
Hey man, it's happening
Yes,
right
it
now
does.
on the continent. Look at Congo. Look at the Congo.
So are you saying?
I don't understand why this is like
are
so
you
hard.
so are you really gonna say so? If I were to walk outside right now, that and I seen a white tea person, white tea equals colonizer, right? If I see a random white person on the street,
Okay, but hold on, because I don't think that that's necessarily analogous.
no,
And
it is
the
analogous.
reason
I'll
why-
explain to you why it's analogous because the people that not all white people have the power to even enact some type of like colonization. You have to have power. It's whiteness plus power, correct?
The African continent, though, yes, a white person has that power dynamic when they go to the African continent. Whether it is as a tourist, they literally have their embassy backing them. They have their diaspora and white money, like Western money, on the African continent. They still are always going
So-
to have that power
okay, perfect,
dynamic on
perfect.
the African continent.
Perfect. So based off of what you're saying right now, if I were to pull a random homeless white man off the street and take him to Africa that was racist, he could oppress these people.
How is a homeless man going to go to Africa?
If I no, so
How
if
is
I
a homeless
paid
man
no,
going
if
to
I paid
Africa?
no, I'm giving you reductio. I'm giving reductio. You're saying all it is being white, right? There's no power included. Then being white is the power, correct? So if I'm giving you this reductio, showing you if I bring a white person that has no power, that is homeless, and I pay for their trip to Africa, they could actively oppress these people.
White people still have social currency, even homeless white
I'm
people.
asking you a question. Just
Yeah, but
answer it.
I'm answering your question. I'm saying white people, homeless people also have social currency.
Are you also saying that
in
these?
comparison to black homeless people, yes, they have.
Well, that's not what my argument is. You're strawmanning me. Let's try again.
I'm not strawmanning you at all.
So I never brought that up. So I'm asking you a very
Yeah,
simple
a
question.
homeless white
I just need you to
person
answer
is
my
not gonna go to
question.
Africa.
Just answer my question, please.
A
Just-
homeless white
this is a
person is not
reductio.
gonna go to
This is
Africa.
reductio. This is reductio. Are you familiar with what reductio is?
No, I'm just saying a homeless white
That's
person is not going to
cool.
go to
This is a
Africa.
reductio. This is a reductio. Are you familiar with what that is? Do you want me to explain that to you?
Bro.
Don't be condescending.
I'm not trying to be
Come on.
condescending, but I'm saying you're
I
not
don't know
answering
why
my
the fuck you're
question.
being condescending.
I'm not trying to be condescending.
A
You're not
white
answering my
person
question.
will always have power on the
Okay,
African
just
continent.
answer my question.
I said yes. A white person
So-
will always have
so-
power on
so-
the African continent.
So what you're saying is a homeless person, regardless of their social status, they can go to Africa and oppress African people actively.
they would still have a power dynamic over Africans. Yes.
Well,
Based on their passport privilege, if they come from a Western country, the fact that they have a Western passport means that they have a leverage over African people.
This is a terrible
100%.
position. This is a terrible. I respect you for being
It's not a
consistent.
terrible position.
No, it is. This is. I respect you for being consistent, but this is a terrible position. Nobody
No,
in
it's
their
not.
nobody in their right mind believes that this oppression doesn't come with a certain type of social status and certain type of power, right? Whether or not that's your whiteness and your money or whatever power you have that it can influence. It's influence plus whiteness. You're being disingenuous to us to say that.
Wait, so you're
somebody,
telling me they don't have passport privilege over like people who are on the ground?
they will. Look at how
They would.
far-
They would definitely have fucking passport privilege. Bro.
what are the principles or the variables that allow somebody to be oppressed, to oppress a nation?
What do you mean impersonation?
Oppress a nation or a people.
It should be at the interpersonal level because one
Wait,
person
no,
is not
just answer my
gonna be
question.
affecting
I'm trying to
another.
have you understand why this position is ridiculous. What are the variables that conclude some type of oppression to a people?
Do you know what interpersonal racism
Just
is?
answer my question, Jesus
But
Christ.
interpersonal racism debunks that argument.
No, it doesn't. We're talking about
Yes, it does.
we're talking about structures in place, correct? Conveyor. I don't know what your name is, user. Be honest right now. We're talking about structures. We're not talking about interpersonal racism. Talk about an actual structure of racism. Yes or no?
Yes, Western structures. that
Thank you.
existed.
So Black Swan, please stop talking. Let me talk to her.
Wait, but
All I'm
those
saying is that
individual
if you
people
think-
play into those Western
Yes.
structures.
All right,
is my
cool.
point.
That is cool. What are the?
Mayman, I only brought up an aspect of the structure, right? That's all I said. I just
That's
leave-
cool. I don't disagree with that. But we're not talking about that right now. Thank you for bringing up something that nobody was talking about. I appreciate it. So let's talk about actual structures that implement racism. So boom, what does it take for you to implement racism to a people or oppresses people? What does it take?
You would need some type of power structure behind you.
Power structure behind you. What is this power structure? That's very ambiguous. What does
Yeah,
that mean?
you would need some type of policy influence. You would need some type of um, uh, diplomatic influence. You would
Okay.
need some type of like control over some type of resources or capital, right? So, like
Perfect.
for example, if you have like if you have like a Western passport, you would definitely have that diplomatic power over a person in Africa.
All right. So are you using these variables as like a like necessary variables or like unnecessary
These are
variables?
just examples. It doesn't have. It's not like a necessary condition. No.
Okay. So okay. So in yeah, if you say that, then yeah, sure. I guess you would be able to say if you're saying that diplomatic power and you're just address or attributing that to like having a passport, then I guess.
Yes.
But
Yes, if
how
you have a
is this
passport,
is this
something happens to
pragmatic?
you, you go to your embassy. No, no, you have a passport, something happens to you, you're gonna go to your embassy. You literally just get your embassy. If you have an American passport, if you have like whatever it is, right? Like, I mean, we saw this happening in Mozambique, right? In Mozambique a couple of years ago, there were a couple contractors, average people, by the way. They were not politicians, they were not diplomats, nothing wrong with it, right? There were average contractors. There was some rebel fighting happening in Mozambique where rebels attacked a village, right? And then the rescue helicopters
But like,
literally.
this is going away from what I was actually
No, no,
talking
it's
about.
not going away from what you're asking. What I'm trying to tell you is even individual people have that privilege because those rescue helicopters went to that village. They rescued those contractors first. Then they rescued their dogs second. And then they went back for the black people in Mozambique.
Okay.
So even an
That's
individual white person has that level of social currency, even though they're not like some type of
I'm
politician.
not really familiar with that whole situation, so I can't really necessarily refute it. I'm just
I
gonna talk
can give
about
you the
stuff.
source. The United Nations released a whole report on it because it
Okay.
was so abysmal that a dog of a white person was worth more to be saved than a black person from Mozambique on their own native land. And this happened in like 2022.
Wait, wouldn't that just have to do with like different nations having power?
No. No, no, it was a rescue helicopter that saved the people and then the dogs of the white people and then they went back to save the black people from Mozambique.
Wait, what would that have to do with anything though? They're prioritizing their people over another people. What's wrong with
No,
that?
no, but this was a rescue helicopter, not a
Okay,
helicopter specifically for that country.
I know that the helicopters from
Yeah.
America.
No, no, no. It wasn't a rescue helicopter from America. It was a
Oh,
rescue helicopter from like locally. It was a local rescue helicopter that literally like evacuated the white people first and then their dogs and then it went back to evacuate the natives.
yeah, that's just weird on their part. I don't know why that would happen. Obviously needed to learn more about that. I've never heard about that, but I'm not necessarily saying you're wrong or right. I just don't know about that situation. But I do want to talk about what I actually was talking about. So you do believe, in practice, a homeless white man could take over or oppress a people in Africa?
No, no. What I'm saying is that that white person is still going to have a power dynamic
That's not what I'm
against
arguing, though.
African people.
That's not what I'm arguing, though. Like you keep on straw
But
manning
that's
me.
what I'm arguing.
Okay, but you're straw manning me what I'm asking.
I'm not strawmanning you at all.
So I'm gonna ask
I
what I'm
gave you,
asking
I
again.
gave,
I'm gonna ask you what I'm asking again because you're not answering what I'm asking. You keep on
I'm
adding.
answering
You keep
what
on
you
adding.
said.
No, you keep on bringing up a comparison. I never
No, no,
spoke
I'm
about a
not bringing a
comparison.
comparison. I'm not bringing up a comparison. I told you an individual white person can still exercise like some type of leverage over a native person in Africa. And that's precisely why I brought you the example of the contractors. The contractors being individual white people who are not government
We're not talking
officials
about
were
interpersonal.
still able to have some type of leverage over another person because they're white Westerners.
I agree with that, but we're not talking about interpersonal right now. We're talking about some type of systematic structure. We agreed to that before we even started the argument. Do you see how you're strawmanning me?
I'm not strawmanning you at all.
Yeah, why would
Then
we
why you
disagree?
keep on bringing up
Wait,
interpersonal
man.
when I'm not talking about interpersonal? That's a straw man.
Okay, so then what would you label it as then? What
I'm
would you
not
call it
talking
then?
about interpersonal racism. I'm talking about structural
Okay, no,
racism.
that's fine.
And I
That's
brought up the
fine. What are you
example. It's
talking
not
about
fine because you're not answering
specifically?
my question. It's not
I'm
fine.
asking you a clarifying question so I can
Okay,
understand what it is that you're saying.
go ahead.
What would you name it then? Like, what specifically would you call this?
Name what? The homeless person? Or
Yeah.
the example?
What you're trying to get us to understand? What would you call it
No,
specifically?
okay. I'm not disagreeing that this wouldn't be interpersonal racism, right? I'm saying
Okay,
this
yeah.
wouldn't be structural racism, the racism we were talking about. This wouldn't be some type of structural racism that had something to do with like some type of system, right? It wouldn't be that. And I'm saying You're saying it will be that just because they're white.
No. That's not what she said. She said that they would have, well, it would be that, right? The social currency, but they'd also have passport privilege. That was her answer.
But the argument was initially about a structure to a system. I never brought up interpersonal. I said, can a white person oppress a people? So you concede that they cannot do that just because they're white. There's more to it. See, she's not saying that, Swan. Swan, please stop interjecting. She's saying something totally different. Swan, please stop interjecting. Swan, please stop. Please, Swan, stop interjecting. She's literally saying what I'm saying. Stop interjecting. Go ahead, Covey.
Yeah.
Or whatever your name is.
So when we look at even historically, right, it was your average white South Africans, not just the leaders, not the politicians, but your average white South African citizens who were able to uphold racial segregation by occupying privileged jobs, schools, and neighborhoods while actively excluding Black Africans, right? Because we have to understand that a system is only able, or a structure is only able to function because your average people are also engaging in it on a day-to-day basis. Also, you don't have to speak. You don't have to scream at Swan that way.
I'm not screaming at her because she's interjecting, but she doesn't even know your position.
You are.
I'm not screaming.
You are.
I'm not screaming. You keep on. You see how you disagree with her, and she was trying to defend you the whole time. Why couldn't you just jump in and say, "No, Swan, you're wrong"? I'm talking about a structure. No. Why are we doing all the extra stuff? I know, but you keep on bringing up interpersonal. I was never talking about interpersonal. So why do you keep on bringing up interpersonal?
We already agreed to that. We agreed to that.
So stop interjecting about interpersonal when I'm not talking about that.
But you can't separate the interpersonal from the structural.
But the reductio was about a structure.
Within the structural.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying the reductio was about the structure to show you that whiteness isn't the only thing that allows a people to oppress.
We agreed to that, man. You keep cutting us off. That's why you're.
Well, you don't agree to that. She just doubled down on what she said. Swan, what are you talking about? She just doubled down. She just said, yes, whiteness is enough. She just said it is.
Can we let Swan talk, please?
Bro, why y'all being dishonest right now, dude?
No, listen. We already agreed to it, so I don't understand why you're getting upset.
Okay, so I want to hear you concede that whiteness isn't just enough to oppress a people.
That's the whole point of whiteness, though, man.
Oh my gosh. So you don't agree with me?
With you on what?
The whole reductio. Jesus Christ. Swan, are you serious?
I literally agree with everything that she said.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna ask you the question for her because she knows she's dead wrong, but she's not gonna respond. Swan, I'm gonna ask you. She is. Watch this. I'm gonna ask you this. What was the purpose of my reductio? What was the purpose of my reductio? Stop. Doesn't matter. What was the purpose of my reductio?
Wait.
She's wrong. Yes. What was the purpose of my reductio?
Okay,
what was the purpose of my reductio? What was the purpose of my reductio? I'm saying she's wrong. I'm going to explain by asking you this question. What was the purpose of my reductio?
No. First, tell me why she's wrong.
Bro, I'm gonna add somebody else up that's gonna try to engage with me. You're not engaged with me. You've been strawmanning me. No, you're not. You've been strawmanning me this whole time. You've been strawmanning me this whole time.
I am asking you to clarify what it is that you are saying.
My reductio was about a structure and a system of racism. You guys keep on bringing up interpersonal. I'm not disagreeing that they're combined, but I'm referring to a structure right now. Stop bringing up interpersonal. We're talking about the structure of racism. Answer my question.
Who disagreed with that aspect?
She does. She believes that a homeless person with no power, just being white, can get and oppress a people.
Because of the structure that exists currently. Don't drop.
Thank you. She's not tracking, so please, I want you to be honest to user. Are you saying that? Because someone sent a galaxy. Are you saying that whiteness is enough for a homeless person to oppress a people structurally?
Yes, because whiteness functions as a system of power, not just a skin color.
Okay, so you're saying a homeless person can get.
Whiteness again. Hold on, one second.
Position.
This is no. This you're being disingenuous at this point. You're trying to debate, bro. No, you're trying to debate, bro. It's not
about debating, bro. I give you reductio. If your reductio isn't follow,
hold on.
It's not true.
Okay, so whiteness. How can whiteness exist without racism?
That's assuming that there's only one structure.
I'm just asking you. How can whiteness exist without racism?
It can't exist if you're holding to the structure that Gomez de Azarado created. But I don't believe that's the only structure that was created. So again, you would have to be begging the question. Jesus Christ.
What structure did Gomez de Azarado create?
The structure you're referring to that has to do with whiteness being supreme. Again, I don't believe that's the only structure that's been implemented with race.
Wait, hold on. So whiteness was created to do what?
That was from the structure that he created formally.
Did whiteness exist prior to that?
Not formally, but yes, it did.
No.
Yes,
No,
it did.
no. No,
Yes,
it
it
didn't.
did. Having darker skin meant being less superior. This
No,
idea
but
was in
did
circulation
people go
before.
around identifying as white people?
No. Race wasn't
No.
a thing.
Okay, so whiteness.
Race wasn't
okay,
a thing formally. No, race wasn't a thing. It was just informal in that way.
Okay, so no, people didn't go around like identifying as white, right? So whiteness, literally the foundation of whiteness is just this power dynamic, and it's just like literally racism. So you cannot reproduce or have whiteness without racism because whiteness was birthed through racism.
Is whiteness a necessary condition to racism?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can't be racist without whiteness?
Whiteness literally birthed racism, yes.
No. So you're saying if I take away whiteness out of the equation, the structure of racism, I can no longer believe
Wouldn't be racism.
that my
It would be something
race,
else.
yeah. So I can like that's begging the question.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Whiteness cannot exist without racism. And
Prove
racism
that.
cannot exist without
that.
whiteness.
Prove that.
Because it was birthed through that. What do you prove what?
That's not true, though.
No, it is though. Race
No, it
literally
isn't.
hold on. Like race was literally created by a bunch of Western Europeans to justify what they were doing.
No.
They created this hierarchy with whiteness on top and literally blackness at the bottom. That was the whole purpose and function of it.
Yeah, this is one of the structures. Yes, I don't disagree.
It's not one of
But,
the structures.
yeah,
that was
it's not-
literally the function of it.
I'm not. No, you're not understanding this. You're saying that this is the only structure that existed that used.
Of whiteness, yes.
Yeah, I'm not because I don't believe
cannot
whiteness.
have whiteness
wait,
without
wait.
racism.
No. Because you're assuming this is begging the question. You're assuming whiteness is a necessary condition to racism. I'm asking for the argument.
Yes. Yes, whiteness is necessary to
What's-
racism.
what's-
because
what's the
literally
argument
whole
for that?
racial hierarchy.
What is the argument
the
for
whole
that?
the whole racial hierarchy
What is the
is
argument for that?
rooted in whiteness being on top.
What's the argument for that?
What do you mean? What's the argument for that? That's like literally a fact.
So you're not going to give me an argument? You're just going to tell me how you feel or what?
It's not about how I feel. It's
You're
again,
begging the
how was
question.
racism-
You're saying
I'm
that.
not begging the
I'll
question.
explain to you. I'll explain. When you beg the question, you're presupposing your conclusion. You're saying that because this happens, therefore, without this can't happen. And you're saying the condition that means it can't happen is whiteness. I want you to give me the argument for that, given our reality and our history. Whiteness has not been the only descriptor to upholding some type of like discrimination between different races.
No, I didn't talk about discrimination. I talk about specifically racism. So I didn't talk
Racism
about
is
discrimination.
demonstration. Wait, that would be
No,
discrimination.
I didn't talk about no. This is the interesting thing. I didn't talk about discrimination in general because discrimination in general can exist without whiteness. Yes, you could have discrimination based on race or religion or ethnicity or whatever it is. When it comes to racism, though, racism specifically is literally rooted in, again, racism was built by defining whiteness as normal, superior, and civilized.
I
and
agree.
everything
This is
else
a
the
form
other.
of racism. Yes, I don't
No, it's
disagree.
not a form of that's literally
Again,
what racism
begging the
is. It's not a
question.
form
Give me
of
the
racism.
arguments.
I'm giving you the argument.
No, you're not.
Whiteness is a necessary condition
Chad,
in the
what's your
sense that
understanding?
modern. Hold, I'm understanding what you're saying. If you didn't interrupt me every 2 fucking seconds, I don't know.
Because you're not answering my question.
I'm
interrupting
actually
you because
answering
you're
your
not
question.
answering my question.
No, I am answering your question. If you don't agree with it, it is not my fault. I am answering your question. Whiteness is a necessary condition in the sense that modern racism was constructed around whiteness. Without whiteness as this dominant reference point, racism as we know it would not exist in the same form.
Yes,
So
I
that's
agree.
why
I agree. In this
whiteness
form. In this form. In this form. When you say this form, you're assuming or alluding to other forms.
What other forms of racism exist?
We see in the Arabic slave trade. We see another structure that was created. Sure, it wasn't initially the reason for that, but after time, it was no longer about.
That wasn't that. Wait,
Wait, I know what it is. You know, I can give you the information. I'll give you the sources. I'm not saying.
I know what the Arab slave trade.
Okay, I'm not saying. Okay, I'm not.
East African. I
Okay,
know what the Arab
perfect. Then
slave
you
trade is.
then you would know this. I'm not making the claim that it was initially just for race. No, race was a variable in the Arab slave trade, but after time, it became the only variable for the Arabic slave trade. It wasn't no longer, oh, this person isn't Muslim. It wasn't no longer, oh, this person is poor. It was just that this person was black, or this person was darker skinned.
That's not even true, right?
Okay,
that's
so
not even
yeah,
true
yeah.
because within the Arab slave trade, this is like a misconception a lot of people have.
Well, I got
The
this information
enslavement-
from Ronald Siegel. So you. I
So
guess
the
you're saying he's wrong.
enslavement. okay, so the enslavement was justified like mainly through religion and social status rather than this ideology that one race was biologically inferior, right? So even like a non-Arab slave might rise to high status within the Arab slave trade because race as a category didn't even exist yet at that point.
No, race
So
as a category, we understand it didn't exist.
Discrimination.
No, false.
It was a different type of discrimination, which is precisely why not all East Africans were even enslaved.
Yeah, that's
because
false.
if it had to do, it is literally a fact. Not
No,
all East Africans were
The
enslaved.
claim
Only
that race didn't exist is false because you're assuming that the only standard or categorization we have of race is through Gomez. It's not true. We had other categorizations.
No, race was literally created and formalized by Europeans.
Formalized, yes, but we had ideas of race prior to Gomez. Nobody that knows the history would say that. They're not going to say absolutely that there was no idea of race prior to Gomez. That's a lie.
Yes. Race?
So then what is being illustrated? Wait, then what is being illustrated when they're assuming that blackness?
Other people's skin color, yes.
Yeah.
People recognize other people's skin color, yes. But they were literally dark. There were literally dark-skinned Arabs that were blacker than like Africans, and they were still not considered black.
Yeah. So again, so if we're talking about like some type of like race categorizing, why did they? Would this be a category associating some type of deficiency of mind or negative connotation to being black or resembling phenotypical traits like big nose, nappy hair, or
yes,
big lips?
those were regional racialized stereotypes, 100% yes. But there were literally the people like who were doing this as well were literally dark-skinned Arabs, so it didn't have to do with skin color. Because if you look at the people who came from like the Gulf countries, if you look at the people who came from the Gulf countries, they were dark-skinned themselves. The people who were doing this shit were dark-skinned. Even the people who were North Africans as well, a lot of the people who were North Africans were dark-skinned. Like in Mauritania and stuff like that, like in those countries, there were also dark-skinned people who were engaging in this because they were from Arabized populations.
Yeah, so again, this has nothing to do with the people that actually were.
This is just like a very, I think this is a very restrictive, like one-sided, like not like fully understood.
That's actually hilarious.
Part of the Arab slave trade.
Yeah, no, it's really not. But I think what's funny that you bring a restriction up is that you believe that there was only one structure to like some type of racial structure that had to do with like oppressing people or like a caste system. It had to do with like oppressing people on the basis of their race.
No, I didn't talk about caste system. No, I didn't talk, like, yes, there were different types of caste systems, but when it comes to race specifically, where people are being categorized by their race and one race is treated as inherently superior, that emerged during the European age of expansion.
And I agree with that it was formalized through the Europeans. But what I'm arguing is that it existed pre-Europeans, but it just wasn't formally.
No, that was proto-racism. There's a distinction. Yes, there's a distinction that is made even within scholarly work. There
I agree,
is a distinction
but
that
it's still
is
be
made.
racism.
No, it's proto-racism.
But it's still
But
racism.
it's not racism.
Why is it considered proto-racism? Because it wasn't formulated.
Because it kind of started creating the foundations of what we know as racism today, but it wasn't actually modern racism.
I understand that. That's why I'm saying it wasn't actually formalized. Proto-racism is still racism. That's the point.
Oh my God.
Define proto.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
You're saying that if you add the adjective or an adjective, the prefix proto.
No,
you're saying because okay, so then how's that
first or early?
Exactly. So how's it defeat racism when I'm saying that it just wasn't formalized in the way that it is today? Are you serious?
Yeah, but it means like a preliminary stage.
I don't disagree. This doesn't take away from the fact that it's racism.
You're saying racism now without making that distinction that this was kind of like this experimental preliminary stage, that is very different.
So it was the first type of racism before it was formulated.
It was a
by
preliminary
Europeans.
stage.
Exactly. Yes. So it was the first one before it was formulated.
I wouldn't say it's just racism.
That is racism.
I wouldn't say it's just I wouldn't. There's a distinction.
So there's a difference between early racism and later racism. That's what you're saying, essentially. There's
a difference between early preliminary, like what came prior to the racism that we know today. Yes.
I don't disagree with that. I don't know why you think I'm disagreeing with that. All I'm saying is that there's been structures. There's been okay. So if I say proto-racism, structures that existed pre-Europeans,
nobody disagrees that caste systems existed. Nobody disagrees that discrimination existed. But what we know as racism today did not exist then. That's what I'm saying. Nobody is saying that prior to the European Age of Expansion that these different caste systems, discriminations did not exist. Nobody is arguing that. But to
Yeah.
pretend as if what existed then was just like um, um, racism or whatever it is, that's not true.
I mean, this is just a claim. You have to like substantiate that, but I think you're very smart. I'm not gonna lie, you're very smart. Yeah, we had a good conversation, but this is just gonna go nowhere because you're just gonna keep on making claims without substantiating your claims. And it's not that I necessarily think you're trying to be fallacious on purpose, but you're just not substantiating what you're saying.
I, I am. Technically, you're not substantiating what you're saying either.
Because I have a negative claim, you have the positive claim. It's just the case
I
that
mean,
mine is going to be true by necessity because we're talking about a structure that exists, right? You're trying to create distinctions between proto-racism and racism. I'm
yes,
taking
I
the
think it's
negative
important to
position.
have these distinctions.
Okay, and regardless of how you create distinctions of them, there's still racism. There's just a different type of racism.
No.
My position is negative, so I don't need to prove anything.
Yeah, okay, I'll just drop. But yeah, no, they're two different things. But thank you for
I
having
agree
me.
they're two different things, and God bless. I'm not disagreeing that they're two different things. I'm just saying this distinction isn't relevant to what I'm arguing. Holy smokes! Ugh, that was actually good. That's my debate tactics. This is just how you debate. Like you can't allow people to just beg the question. Like how do you know that? Like I know y'all don't know what that means, but I can't just let people just say whatever. Like if you say this is how it is, but you're not able to actually give me the justification for why it is, this is not going to be. It's going to be fallacious. And I'm not here to say like she's doing this like she's trying to be like malicious on purpose. Maybe that's what she like understands, and she's very well read on it. But like it just doesn't follow. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like when you actually look at it holistically, and you can say I'm a Phil bro, and that's why I get it. But maybe you need to become a Phil bro too. I mean, you. Thank you, Rob. You're a traitor to your people with this one. I'm a traitor because I believe that black people can do everything white people can do. W. Yay! Thumbs in the chat to that layman. Thumbs in the chat to that layman. Oh my gosh, brother, you're a layman. Holy smokes! Oh my God, you're a layman. It don't get much worse than that. Hold up, let's play some music. I need some music. Using logic makes you a traitor, I guess. And that's the problem. A lot of these people, like when they have these conversations, they don't actually use logic. Like they don't even realize that their conclusions don't follow. They're non sequiturs. Like I gave her a reductio, and respectfully, she didn't even realize that her position was absurd. Give me my reductio. But she ended up not conceding. She said to be consistent later, so I respect that. But like it's just gonna be absurd. Like, do you generally believe a white man can go to a different country and oppress a whole bunch of people with no power?